beautiful person. Yes, you, beautiful person. Welcome back to the channel. My name is oHSoIcoNic, but if I could, I would be just like you. And today, I want to have another quick little chat. I know a lot of us have a lot of different regrets in our lives. And chances are these are decisions that we made when we could have made better ones and the results were unfavorable. Now, there's a different type of regret. And for me, that different type of regret is knowing that had I known then what I know now, I would have behaved completely differently. Now, in my case, I'm referring to an incident that took place back when I was in high school. I got a scholarship out of Chicago, Illinois, and went to a boarding school in a small town just north of Boston. Now, this school, for lack of a better term, was all white. All white. Now, for the most part, my experience at this school was positive, and I have very, very few negative things to say about the place that I went to high school. However, I can say that there is one situation that had I known then what I know now, things would have gone completely differently. So the situation was I lived in a dorm. Now I went to a co-ed school, but naturally the dorms were not co-ed. So I'm in my room one night, my sophomore year, where I had a single to myself. I hear a knock on the door. I go to open the door, and three of my classmates are standing there. One of them has a sheet on in the shape of a hood, in the shape of a certain robe and gown that, for me, is an atrocity. I think they understood that it was as well, because to them, it was a prank. It was a joke. And the only reason why pranks work is because there is a chance that they cause harm, and the potential for them to cause harm is what makes pranks funny, in most cases. Now, naturally, being one of very few black people on campus, and to have these kids show up at my door like that was quite alarming, to say the least. I was young and wasn't quite sure how to handle the situation other than to go and tell somebody. Now, I went to a dean of students at the time, and it's tough. It's really tough, again, thinking about what I know now. But I went to this dean of students and explained to them what had happened. It was very, very upsetting for me and quite dramatic, to be honest, because, well, anyway, I went on to explain to the dean what had happened to me. It was very, very frustrating, and I needed to understand what could be done about it. Now, when I came out of the meeting, I didn't feel any better. In fact, I felt worse. I felt worse about myself because I had been told to brush it off. I had been told that it was just a silly old prank, and it doesn't mean anything. They meant nothing about it. It's harmless. You it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. But in the moment, it was something. To this day, it's still something. But I brushed it off. I mean, what is a 15-year-old to do? I'm one of literally only a handful of people that look like me phenotypically, which I don't care what you say, it's a thing, all right? But don't get me started on that. I'm one of a few on this campus. People know what groups like the KKK represent and what they mean to black people. So how is that supposed to be funny? Now, naturally, that's what I felt at 15 years old. But then coming out of that meeting and hearing that it was just a prank, it was just a joke, and it should have been blown off like that, made me feel like there was something wrong with me. It made me feel like I was wrong for interpreting it the way that I did. It made me feel as if I was somehow out of the know for being offended at something like that. And that sticks with you. Now, it wasn't until years later that I was having a conversation with my dad. Don't know exactly how this situation came up, but it did. His jaw dropped. He was so upset that it happened, and even more upset with me for not telling him. And at that point, not only did I realize I went to the wrong person, but I also then realized what had happened. A really serious thing was swept under the rug. And that's the point of this chat today. It's not only recognizing that had you known something differently, you would have behaved differently, but it's also recognizing when situations have happened like that in your past and understanding the things that you can do now to prevent future generations from having those same type of problems. It will be a very, very, very poor choice for us to continue allow things like this to happen and not really address them and explain why they're not harmless. I guarantee you that my classmates probably did think it would be funny. But why did they think it would be funny? Because to them, maybe it was okay to crack this black joke to the black kid because we're not racist. We don't mean anything by it, so it will be funny. I guarantee that they probably did not have any malicious intent behind it other than to use this cruel notion as a harmless joke. Saying it doesn't really make sense, but being a kid, I get it. You trip somebody, you want them to fall because it's funny. Now, do you really want them to hurt themselves? Yes, but it's okay if it's funny? Right? Now, I'd be lying if I told you that that situation and that image doesn't still get to me to this day. It most certainly does. And it gets to me because I'm very, very frustrated knowing that I could have handled it differently and addressed some serious issues. Now, I probably would have told my parents. I probably would have addressed it with a black faculty member as well. But I can't change the past. So all I can do is help the future understand when and where stuff like this happens and how to deal with it so that they don't end up like me or like you. Because I'm sure that you have a situation that you have regretted as well. If for no other reason, then you didn't have the proper tools or information. Let me know down in the comment section what was like that. Tell me how you handled it. Tell me what you didn't do that you should have. Per usual, I really appreciate you all for being here all the way to the end. Check out another quick chat or check out a poetry piece for me right here. But before you do that, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much again. My name is oHSoIcoNic, but at the end of the day, you're the icon. I'll catch you in the next one.